And principalities.
There's so much fire inside me.
Tragedy struck when part of the largest hillside at the kosher rubbish dump collapsed.
It's going to be fun to see how he goes about approaching this game.
We table issues relating to the arts and entertainment for a riveting discussion, of course, without fear nor favor.
The question the presenter asked them was a dumb question. You need to speak the part and move.
Varied views. We agree to disagree.
So I would disagree with everything you said. I think that he's a smart guy. I think what he did.
No, but I also said he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I guess that I'm waiting for the what next.
Yeah, I don't think that we have to wait for what next.
It sometimes gets confrontational, but that's the beauty of the game.
Today you funny face. It's not my brother. I don't know him. You don't know funny face. It's not my brother. You don't know funny face.
It's a package. We meet, we sit, we dialogue, we learn, we progress. My name is Benefo Huabin Abrantepa, a proud blogger, and this is my forum.
And I miss you, one for so over tassas, non keep his can. Tell me, mammy, Crawford will be a Johnny Jab because Sikaba and my promise can.
Emmanuel Jikuno Tepa shares a story on The Untold on GhanaWeb TV on Monday, May 10, 2021. Do make a date.
Good morning. We are back again, Charlie. If today is your first time on my YouTube channel, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share with your friends. I'm sure you're wondering where this background is coming from, how I am dressed. Guys, I am I am right here in my village called Jita, which is in Keta in the Volta region. You know, Volta region is my favorite place. You all say Stella is always in the Volta region. I mean, I'm here today in my village, and I didn't come alone. I came with my Kenyan YouTuber,
All the way from Kenya, Charlie.
Yes, and where are you here in the village today?
Because I just have to have that natural feeling of where I come from, because I'm born and bred in the villages in Kenya, so I felt why not try the village life here in Ghana. And I'm so happy to be in Stella's YouTube channel. Please go show some love to my YouTube channel, D Mwango. The link is down below. And if you're from Team D, you know how we do it, man. Go subscribe to her channel, tell her D Mwango sent you here, and welcome to the Volta region, the beautiful village life here in Ghana.
Today, this video is going to be a usual routine in the village, how things are done here, what to expect when you come to the village to enjoy. I mean, guys, I know definitely you're going to enjoy it. And so with D, let's go right into the video.
You got to let it go. You got to let it go. You got to let it go. You got to let it go.
Jita is located in the Volta region, and it took us about 3 hours 30 minutes drive from Accra Mall. Let's take a short tour of how this place looks like. This is the room, and this is made of coconut branches, and so it's detachable. You can always just cover it like this, and no one will know what's in there. When you want to keep it open, just open it. Yeah. So yeah, welcome to my room. This is how spacious. This is the bed, this is the area, this is the dressing area, this is like a small kitchen. And so yeah, the reason why there is a lot of sun here is because we are very, very close to the beach, which I will take you very soon. It's just a walking distance, less than a minute walk. So yeah, let's see the kitchen. So this is the kitchen area, and as you can see, this is made of this is a typical hut, typical village. So this is made of grass. This is made of grass, and it can last as long as the modern roof would also last. So yeah, once it's going old, you can just put more grasses on top. So this is how it looks. This is how the kitchen looks. You can actually prepare food here, which is made of stones. How the stones looks like. Or this, which is made of clay. It's made of clay. So you just put a little firewood. This is how the firewood looks like. This is how the firewood looks like, and then you use a pot like this to prepare food. So yeah, this is basically how things are done here. And this is also a space for chicken, fowls, because we have a lot of I mean, this is why we always eat healthy, because from farm to plate. Look at this one here, he's chilling. I think he's laying eggs. Aww. So yeah, I mean, this is how free you live your life, you enjoy, you know. And of course, we have some sugarcane plants here. So sweet after meals, after eating, when you know you want something sweet, you can just cut it. It's not yet ready, but I'm sure in the next month or two we'll be ready for us to all consume. Yeah. most of our source of water is through the well. So we are going to fetch water from the well into our pots, and that's the usual morning routine.
Yeah.
Since you need water to bath, you need water to wash dishes, you need water to brush your teeth. You have not brushed your teeth this morning. So yeah, so we are going to do that, wash dishes, and then maybe find something to eat, and then call it a day for now. Come on. The best part about the village is the fact that it's very close to the sea, and so when you just take a 1 minute walk, you are getting very close to the sea. This is how the environment looks like. I mean, D is expecting that we are going to the river, right? I have a surprise for you. So our source of water is from the well, and so we are currently going to fetch water.
And we use this to carry water.
Yeah.
Here in Accra, here in Ghana, in the villages, not Accra, we are in a different location. So this is the well, this is where we are going to get the water from. So life here is really different, and like where I come from, we have the rivers, you know. Here they have the well, like what you see here. So let's get water for me.
It's not very deep.
Yeah, it's not from fetching water from the well, heading home to go and do some cleaning, and life here in Ghana, yeah, is different, you know, because here they don't go to the rivers, you know, they have the wells as you've seen. So let me know in the comment box, where do you go and fetch water from in your villages? Wells or lakes or rivers? Let me know. Time to clean. Time to clean. And guys, this is where they store water here in the village. After getting water from the well, you come and store it in here. Yes. So it can really accommodate, you know, lots of liters of water, as you see, because it's huge, you know. And also it makes the water cocoa we drink.
Yes.
It's more but this one, cocoa. Yes. This smell of millet. Pepper. Millet pepper.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going to try them both. And
they are hot. That one has pepper.
Yeah. You want to try this?
No.
You don't like pepper? So I think it's perfect for you. 50 pesos, this is 1 cedi.
Yeah.
1 cedi is because 1 cedi because it has the milk and the sugar.
Breakfast in Ghana, in the villages. So you shake it. It's still hot. Sweet. With the pepper.
Very, very nice. And it tastes very
smooth, so sweet. I can feel the milk taste in it. Oh my goodness, it's so sweet and no pepper in it.
This is very good. I've tasted it before. Even in the northern region in Ghana, they also have another type that is like this. That is made of millet. And that one is the red millet. So it's very red and it's very spicy. She doesn't take lots of pepper, so I don't want to kill you before you get to
so nice for me.
It's now time for us to wash some dishes.
So guys, now it's time to wash the dishes. She's washing, I'm rinsing. So it's gonna be really easy. So also here in the villages, it's sharing of duties. Why when you have a sister like me, when I have Stella, we can do things really together and easy.
This should take us less than a minute, like 3 minutes.
3 minutes to finish.
There are some chores in the house that we all don't like. What's yours? Let us know in the comment section.
For me, it's washing dishes.
Mine is fetching water.
Fetching water? Really? That's so easy. I can do that. Long, and that's why you can see we have lots of several pots here with us.
And that's what we usually use to prepare bounce for, like, bulk, a lot of people. If you want to cook for small quantity, you can use this one.
Guys, while washing the dishes, when you come across such, you just have to feed the chicken and the fowls. You see? They're already on it. Let me take it somewhere. So now Stella is finishing up by washing the pots, and this is what they used to cook here in the villages. The reason as to why it's dark as you see, it's because they use firewood while cooking. It's clean now. Time to rinse it.
Very clean. So one thing about this place is because it's very sandy, which is made of sea sand, once you come here you can wear one cloth for a very long time because you can assure yourself that it won't be dirty.
It's not dusty.
It's not dusty, it's just sandy. Yeah. So you know how sea sands are. You can just shake them and then you are good to go.
Good to go.
Yeah. So if you have somebody who is very dirty, the person is
the village
going to be
well.
Yes.
So we finally found our wood.
Yeah, and this is the strongest, so she's going to carry them. We are going to use to prepare atpele and fetridechi. Do you know atpele and fetridechi? That's like ugali. Yeah. And the beautiful part is my village is very close to the sea. Yeah. mean, this is a perfect place to meditate. This is a perfect place to relax. This is a perfect place to always feel at home. Reason why I love the Volta region, reason why I love the village. B! Are you enjoying your time? So beautiful. Woo! Woo! Yeah. Enjoyed your time with me and Dimongo. Behind me is the sea in the Volta region. This brings us to the end of this vlog. And so another time in another episode. Peace up. And oh, please show love to Dimongo.
I really appreciate. And if you're from Team D, you know how we do it. Please go subscribe to our channel. Let's get her to 30,000 subscribers.
Hey.
And we're gonna see you soon on our next one. Peace.
I usually blow kisses to my subscribers. So
Aya yewo enipa bi nyamesrofo bi a omote aforobase omode sika bebreen obode ntade bebreen omode no mapi bebreen na yen de yen so ye de ahoden ye de aiden yakoche nti begina akwanya we so na enipa won ebeye sado ye a yen so ye de ato sa no ma we ese ye de bremo no ye be stress nyankopon onhro mo ma ye da
omo a ye bo afore omo amanone ene omo Ghana enyinara Yakupon fa sa nhia ne adom e wo Ramadan bi enu wo ema yenda
Se wani ji yenjumedi na se onyanka crime check ebusuako no a ye be sure se
o subscribe na se o subscribe wi a
adoma bi won chen
mi aso
se ne be ya
jumetie biara ye de beto ono
onsa beka
na wo so betimi ahwebi
our passion we that we dey help with the change them
minuanom mati asem dey enne se ope asase ana edan ato amansun biara eni ho a eno ane ejare real estate na sa ejare real estate won wo kasoa ofanko baby a aban akosi senior high school ni high court fefefe no wo firi ho pe na ura ejare real estate sai tie ani jesemiye anwea ene ebo a wo de besi dan no ebi wo ejare real estate fo na de saima eye ahomeka ene se wo twa asase na ejare real estate wo betwa so fe edi amaw edi odin aye pillars edi esi ho land guard asemo de eno de emamu kura na sai tie ani jesema san wo ho bi me ensu a wo de besi wo dan no eye free na document asemo de eye tatahwe wo to wasase anase wo dan a na ye de ahye wonsa eti kan ho na frɛ ejare real estate na ansa anyawo
21st clinic say eba sciatica no ho every usisimu kono a woto ase ho no ntina fa usrem ekosi wo na ase ho no ebo betimi atutu ama wo ankasa woje hu ba bi enye enti 21st clinic wo mo na ye sciatica expert e wo Ghana ha wo mo de bibiduro so ho abibiduro ankasa ene besan ya no masa de machine aka ho ya de abibiduro ka ho ne asa de wato machine so ya san ya o massage bi ya wi a herbal treatment ya de awono ama ho eye sciatica 21st clinic na ye expert a wotu ase Ghana ha ba bia wo mo ho enkran domi market wo ho heavy do dan ni mo ho ena kuma senso ahia uduru session so wo mo na nue dwabo so wo mo ho sunyane ni wenchi ni ba bia nkranza 0540 311 311 0540311311 Next 21st clinic womo ye sciatica expert.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yasra ala nadom nshira ni mobro hunfa enguye ina so da eya Ramadan bosumi ya yewom yadi yemu ato ho se ye chekom nshira ni adom bi ewom ala onfa ya adom da sade ye mamu enyantiye no se yenuanum a omufri crime check eye organization omo ba say omo de nyoma eba beche ye muslim fo a ye wo Kaswa area ha. Said ye beya Ramadan bosome ya kwankyerɛ ye wo mu yi. Ye betimi nso enya mu ahoɔden ye de bibia support ye ho na yetimi aye. Nyame adom wode omo aba beduru asomdwe mu amayen. Inti ye dikan ye momu nyina akwa aba na ye behye program kakra ye pese ye no ya hye ase. Ye betu ye nsa frɛ ye nua baako Mr. Habib Edu ama na kan Quran kakra e de abue ano e de amayen. Ye wia na de to asonso ye de asto aso. Nyankopɔn hya ye nyina da.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصيموا خيرا لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. Nentrasiye. O mu agidefo. Yahyehyɛ akomkyere no de amamo. Sɛdeɛ yɛhyehyɛ akomkyere no de ma nkrɔfo a ɔmo edi mu anim kan sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ a mo bɛyɛ atenefo. Akomkyere no wɔ hɔ ɛwɔ ɛnda bi a yɛhyehyɛ de amamo. Na mo mu dia wɔyare ana de wetu kwan no na dodo a ya odi tu kwan no onye akomkyene nhyem wabra akomkyene no aba awieye na de ya bibi nti ontimi ye akomkyene kura no nso ono so ontua nhyane mu ade a eno ne se obaba akohomade ma obi a onni bie na obi a ya obeye papa na ode ahobrase na ebeye no eye papa ede ma no na akomkyene no eye mamo sanka munima Quran konkron etri mienu ni yimai wa ha ediwatwe enan kopim oha ediwatwe enum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yankopon wonhira yenua Mr. Habib Adam Edu omayenda ene de da wode kan Quran emayen. Sesiye yebema yen panyin ba ko a wotie mu yen movie a wɔhwɛ Kaswa Ahmedia zone so abompaye e de amayen na yewia omo a mobaye nso omo anu mu nsem kakro omo de ato aso amayen Yankopon hira oisa
ba mo chawo ma ye mayen za so na ye mbompaye bismillah Amen.
Allah wonhira ya movie emayenda. Tiesie ya wie ni sei ya de behye yen empanyinfo no a awie anasa no pamremu wa ma beka yensa na ye de nyomo ba be yadom. Na sade ye di kan aka kire mo no omu free cram check. Oho e na omo wo a omo ye adwuma. NGO a omo de eboa nkrofo Tinyame adom yensa ka mpanyinfo etisei nti ye de behye Mr. Ibrahim Kwatensa. Mr. Ibrahim Kwatensa de mu nyina mu hu ni TV so emre bia no. Ono nso eno ye founder of sa cram check no. Ono de bebo ase. Ti ye de behye ne nsa na kakra bia owo bia no ode amayen.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yankopon hira nyina da. We dey me say ye nyina nim say yo chiri abosome mu. Ye ba yen say me say wia no so ahya ase say epie. nti ebe ma ye kasa no aye titi say ya wa kirikiti bi a ebe hye na mo de a chen na Crime Check Foundation said ye nyina ye nim no bi ebi no mahudwuma de a ye di wa Ghana ha enye prison pe na ye kobo nipa your foundation no ye no ma pi ye free bibi say health check series omo yare obu ho kra na ohia operation bi na ho kire nti onya sika enkoye enipa etisa no ye hwe na se ye betimi a ye boa wo mo ema ya boa nipa bebre ema wo aye eno achi ye free bibi charity series sa charity series said ye ti ase say charity eye yibi ma atu ho ama aforebo no ye bi pa ye de call Ghana baby bebre ye boa nipa akunafo obo ha sebe na ni kuna free mu ni yere free mu na ya de so akese ama no enipa o motesa no so ye tai boa mo pa ye free bibi street charity no so mbo hu sa na ye nam lorry kwan mu obo ha wo hwa pampan bi eso no eno ma ewo mutumi de wani kan po enso o yere wo ma kwan be na nipa o motesa o mutumi fa so hwe o mo yere ene o mo ma na o mu kunu no mo enti no aya o mo nso ye boa o mo kakra ye mo dwetire kakra na o mo de adidwa se de be ya won betimi on sabekọ won ano eno achi ye free bibi educational support series enti afibia akwada bi wa ha wa pass fefefe enso sika ni fie Crime Check yesi da bi enye fe se akwada sebe ni ti edie bua no na wa pass na otifie enti eno nso enkwada won tesa no ye taibo ma fi nipa ye tue o school fees eko university say bebre eno si edwuma de enti ametwom akwa akire kakra ne se de be ya mo nso no mo beti bi na ebi a bibi ni amode to software ni mu a anampanifo mo ka so ani mu a o mama ye hu yesika ne no so bebre nanso nyame nti yetimi bua kakra na na ye nyina enim ye prisons ye adwuma de a ye din so obi wa ha na ye ntwato so na ye de ato no so obi wa ha na okofa kwadu ba ku bi yanka se kro no ye nanso Ghana ha ye ni ye frɛ ne se obroni beka se ye ni non custodial law bia abrochi di boni bi sa o ti gotam ene ade na de abo oman no be Ghana ye nyanya bi sa nta ye boa nipa o mte sa ye yi wo mo obi wa ha sebe onye kromfo bibi enema bibi ba enti ye yi wo manya se ye yi wo mo keke ne ape bibi nso amoma ye ntu kokwahema na other places ebi ne mo ton refreshener ebi ton belt pi no ye o ma ye yuma free prisoner ya ma mo dwetire bi a o mo de ye adwuma nenne de enti a ya ba ha no ye charity series no ena ye de atoa mo empadifo tai bube ese o ye adoya na se wa ufiefo ekom de wo mo na o de kwa abonten a be me gidi se na aforebo na tosin enti no ye nuanom amwo ka so asese ye betwa yani ahwe mo ba me ne sofo di nkomo aka ba bia se fro lo menava ye se ho poverty no wo ho pa ye hwe se ho nso animanimu ya ye bekọ ho na nyame adaro ma yetima ko bibi kakra ye nyina ye nim enhyira wa konche kese mu enti ye nkasa bebre na de enti ayaba ha ne se aya ye wo enipa bi nyamesrofo bi omote aforoba se omo bebre ne wa amanone de omo ya ne se Crime Check omo di sika bebre yen obode ntade bebre omo de no ma pi bebre na yen de yen so ye de ahoden ye de aiden ya koche na enhyira no yenya bi omo nti enene ya ba be pi ha sei enti mo be ma me kwan be 2-3 minutes a omo enam omo so no ma we ya ba ha no ye be bobo omudin na yewie a sofo nom agina animu na yada won omo yes ado ye ase eye Ahmadi ladies ekuo bi wo eye UK abrochiman mu omo ye ma wo hwedin no kra utimi hu Ahmadi ladies omo ka ho na ya to no man abremo sikom de brand 1872 abepie ha sei eye for Ramadan omo eye chiriwia ye nyina nim se chiriwia du ba bia wo bebreke na ya asem enti no ene omo aboa yen sister bi owo Kuwait your friend Fati sister Fati so wo hwen a won so bring 1000 Ghana cedis and also aka enoma ye de ba ha yimu Ramatu sister Ramatu nanse won me kasa e be nene nansa wo de 400 Ghana cedis wo say yemfa mo aye nuanam yemfa nto no ma na yemfa mre wo mo Rosemary Boatin sister Rosemary wo Canada the total ya do ye wo frɛ de wo kan ya ne se wo pese ye nuanam wo ye akonche na sa sika yom bo nya ho mfaso Amana Foundation mo US afi biara mo di sikaba ye de bi to enoma ye de ko prison ye nuan mo prison o mo ye chiriwia na afiwe sika mo de brand $1,000 no mo si yamfa bi nye no ma foforo yamfa bi nye Ramadan yamfa bi nye say yayi mu 2,892 the aka no yo sika kakra ha de be so na ye de ato prison enti ye damase amana foundation so muti ye damase sister Amina who Belgium also my 300 Ghana cedis for Ramadan. Hajia Ramat who US also 505 cedis. Osman Opon and Fatima mo UK mo my 700 cedis. Mo se mo ba birthday I friend mo Sharifa and Sharif aforeba mo so mo bono no. Sister Aisha who UK oh my 504 cedis. Hajia Aisha to US 547. Hajia Halima who UK also my 700 cedis. Hajia Nafisa too who US so my 547. Mohammed Abubakar Ali who Saudi Arabia 1,000 cedis. Shafika Seidu UK 341 cedis. And Sharifa Abubakar who Saudi Arabia 500. Sister Ramatu US so my 200 cedis. Hajara Bawa Tamale 200 cedis. And also Yamfama kuna for me say kuna fo bi ebeka ye ho a mo so benya ho fa so and Hafisa and Kroma sister Hafisa and Kroma so UK oh my 500 Ghana cedis enti begyina akwanya we so na enipa won ebeye sa do ye a yenso ye de ato sa normal we ese ye de bremo no ye be stress nyankopon onhiro mo ma ye da ebi o mo kofa iska ni free e obi wo ha oba for ye nyese wa shada so na oba for ye da bi benyamisuro ejidi a wo nyamim aforebo ho mfaso asofo ha ntimi nkasa pii de me di twato an se sawu ni sika na akasa wo twen anya sika nsa no aba for de a ene na wo nti nyamesom na se wo ho akere wo kra no ena oba for na nyankopon ehu se de aforebo no emudu etie enti me de masam ba wie a ye bada omu nyina se assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yo, Yankupon, Wonshra, Mr. Ibrahim Kwaten, Emayenda. Say, Yankupon, some man in India. Eya Sunku say, not this our foundation, Eya Crime Check Foundation, Ebe Bossy, Ede Mayen. I am so. Ada sama bebre, Enya home faso. I ne, yen so. Ebi ababesun yeso. Yankupon, Wonshra no Mayenda. Sarah Madame Busimu, Adumbia, Yashushe Biano. Omo a yebo afore omo amanone ene omo Ghana enyinara Yakopon fa sa nhia ne adom e wo Ramadan bi enom omo emayenda nti emise kasa nsa de okan yempese ebekọ akiri bebre sesi ano ye de bekọ awieye na yama ye moving so abompaye de amaye ne ye de akọ awieye
ba mu chew ye nyina ye bema ye nsa so na ya bompaye bismillah.
Yosika yamfa mwati asifo Audiani mwawie ya wati Saya wadaja yenyamati asifo Naubiani mdachi ase
Amen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ntiyam se siade yade akwa awieye intino ye nyina se Yami ya dom na ye kwa asori de ma na se fie bia o ya asori bia no aya ne ya kai wo mo so wo mpai bu kwa adwuma na o mo ye no eden o mu hia ye mpai bo ne ye support e wo kwan bia so
A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصيموا خيرا لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
From the dawn of time, people have engaged in several businesses. With the onset of technology and innovation, life has relatively been made easier. By using debit or credit cards,
mobile banking.
Thank you. And your favorite, mobile money?
Tech has indeed married business. On BizTech, we spend time with faces behind known and upcoming businesses in the country.
Learn more about the new technologies and innovation,
as well as find out about the trending issues in the world of business.
Join us as we serve you with a variety of compelling interviews, projects, and others right here on GhanaWeb TV.
He was once beaten up for asking his friends to get him oranges to eat.
It's not easy. You booming in Colania. Because you are to Baku catch them, say, Mimkumi. Semiqua, no bini, Obiani, and I'm in the coy. But I know free so can't be bina a booming. You call her rank or Mamiska 1,000 cities by then. And I miss you, one far so of a tassas, non keep his can. Tell me, Mammy, Crawford will be a Johnny Jab because Sikaba and my promise can.
Emmanuel Jikuno Tepa shares his story on The Untold on GhanaWeb TV on Monday, May 10, 2021. Do make a date.
My name is Dr. Louisa, and no, this is not 2P Tuesdays. Today I'll be answering a few questions on this special Mother's Day edition, so stay tuned. Thankfully, both pregnancies were pretty normal for me. I didn't have complications. I didn't have much of the complaints that most people would have during pregnancy. Morning sickness, not really. I just really had that uncomfortable taste, that metallic taste in my mouth in the first trimester that I didn't like. But other than that, I think my pregnancies were fine. I only threw up once for my second pregnancy, which was for my son. Just one random morning I threw up. And besides that, everything else was fine. My first baby, my baby bump was not too big. It was actually very small, so most people didn't notice I was pregnant. Yeah, so I think I had some problem-free pregnancies so far. Thank God. I craved mangoes a lot. I remember I used to eat a lot of mangoes, so everybody in my house used to laugh at me because there would be mangoes, a bucket full of mangoes, and then the next minute is all finished because I ate them all. I used to crave mangoes a lot. And another weird thing was that during my pregnancy for both my son and my daughter, I, for some reason, became allergic to kenkey. When I'm not pregnant, I eat kenkey and I'm fine, but when I'm pregnant and I eat kenkey, my lips get swollen, so that was another weird thing. Thankfully not. but postpartum depression is real. A lot of women go through it. It is not strange. It is something that happens, and so I guess we have to educate more and more women about what it is so that they can identify what it is when it does happen to them. I'll divide that into two. We have a responsibility as health professionals, like myself and my other colleague friends, the gynaes, even just general physicians, to educate the general public on what postpartum depression is, not just expectant mothers, so that the partners of expectant mothers and then the family, people who are around them, are aware of what the symptoms are, so that they can identify it if there's a mother who's going through postpartum depression, and then they can assist. And I think as women as well, expectant mothers, mothers who have already had kids, and even just not generally women, should read a lot about pregnancy before they get pregnant and even while they're pregnant, so that they can learn some of these things. Wow, that's a compliment. Thank you. How did I get my body back? I don't think I've got my body back. I still have some few pounds to shed to get to my pre-baby body, but I'm still loving my body as it is now, and I'm rocking it very well. But what helped me to lose a bit of my baby weight was I tried a lot of things. Some of them didn't work, some diets and exercise, because they were on and off. But what actually helped me were these gummies. Recently, I even posted it on my Instagram page, called Slim Me Gummies. They're these apple cider vinegar gummies that has beetroot and things like that. A friend of mine introduced me to it, and when I started taking it, I saw the weight actually just shed off. So that's what helped me. Not really, because I think I'm surrounded with so many strong women that looking up to them, like my mother, my aunts, and family, friends. I just really saw how they were able to juggle both their careers and motherhood, and so that kind of gave me some faith in myself that I could do it too. So I don't think I really saw it as a difficult task. I think it all comes down to planning. Somebody who likes to plan ahead. So I think that has helped me. I actually am very deliberate in creating time for different things. So creating time for my work that has to be completed by a certain time, and then creating time for my kids, my husband, my home. So I think it's just being deliberate about making the time and making it count. Actually, I don't know. They're just full of surprises, both of them. So I guess they're just being themselves. Yes, to some extent, but each person has a different personality. Each of us has different personalities. We have external factors like environmental factors that kind of add up to what our personality is. But we also have our inborn personalities that we came to this world with. So parenting is a contributing factor, but it doesn't dictate how the child would be. Yes, very, very supportive, and I can't be more grateful to God for that, because I always tell the partners of expecting mothers that you have a big task to keep her motivated from the time she gets pregnant to the time she becomes a mother, and even as she's a mother, because she's doing all the work anyway. So the little you can do is to support her with your words, with your time, with your energy, you know, just make her feel appreciated all the time. And that goes a really long way. Just knowing that you are appreciated, that what you're doing is impactful, I think that really goes a long way. So I always tell my male friends whose wives are expecting and things like that, that you don't underestimate the power of your words. Because I remember for myself, when I went into labor, my husband's words kept ringing back in my head, because he'd always, when I was pregnant, he'd always be like telling me about how proud he is of me and how strong I am and how much of a warrior I am and things like that. Even though at a point I knew he was just making me feel good, but it actually, you know, helped. So I just have some words for them, that you're doing an amazing job. You are so strong. You've done an amazing thing by bringing life into this world. Don't bother too much on the little things like the weight that you've gained or how your body is looking. It's very normal. You're going to snap right back. And even if you don't, just love your new body as you have it, and care for your baby, care for yourself. That's the most important thing. Your mental health is very, very important. Don't let anything come above that. Take care of yourself, take care of your husband. Know that you are loved and appreciated. You are amazing. You are a superwoman. Just like my shirt says, every woman is a superwoman. This shirt is from the Beam Shop, and it's from the Angloga Junction collection. The words are from Stonebwoy's song Everlasting, that says, every woman is a superwoman. Every woman is a champion. And that's exactly what you are. To every mother, I wish you a very happy, special and happy Mother's Day. You are amazing. And to our potential mothers and to our expectant mothers, and to women who are believing God for babies and believing God to bless them with the fruit of the womb, and believing God with you, it's going to happen. No matter how long it takes, it's going to happen. You're going to hear the cry of a baby. You're going to be a mother, and all of your time shedding tears will be over. I just want to also take this time to encourage you and let you know that you are also loved, and we think about you, we pray for you, and you're so strong. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers. We love you, I love you, and I appreciate you. Thank you, GhanaWeb. Bye. Follow me on Instagram at Dr. Louisa _S. That's GRLOUISA_S on Instagram and on Twitter. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Louisa, on YouTube. And let's keep in touch.
Another year for mothers to be celebrated. What are people buying for their mothers, grandmothers, mother-in-laws, and that special someone that's played a role of a mother for them to be appreciated? Let's hear from some traders.
They are buying chains, jewels, and rings, because that's what we sell, and that is what they are buying more. As today, Mother's Day is around 1.5, 50 Ghana, but what is going most is we have 100 cities, we have 120. These are the more things that is going here.
Today is the most happiest day in this shop, because that was last year. Even the Mother's Day couldn't throw us today. Anyone that enter into this shop, I want GTP. In fact, I don't know what to say. But all thanks give to God, say people are able to, at least they are able to afford to buy clothes for their parents. In fact, some my idea so maybe I need a lace, white lace, for my mom. In fact, it started, it's not even only today. Oh. Since last week, people started buying.
Okay.
Because they want to present something for their parents.
Okay. So this lace, how much is it selling at?
Like this one, a yard is 60.
Okay.
And this one, a yard is 150. The lowest is 40.
Okay.
And as for the GTP, the new star is 100 cities. So
for
they
one
are
yard.
No, for the 6 years.
6 years.
For your mom.
Okay.
Yeah. So they make me a capa their GTP in raining.
Say na ntisa first ni bi.
Okay.
Oh, say the city no. First no dey a. Ya no kran e breaking homes. And na dey nkwala won yan hwe nkwala ne ba. But this time no sa breaking homes ni ade no to etwa. Hwe obi a hu say e won yan ba ha ni na mema ne ma na ne ba ha. Obi aba betoto ne ma ni ni ade. Oh, nti no tete na tisa say bia mema no ebi enhwe nkwala ne ma ba se ni dey. Mema hwe nkwala pa. Oh, nyame adomaye. Just say when you try the mothers no fine. Oh, so na. But yeah, she can say e bedu tama e mema no so de e bedu so. On be the same thing. Because anko yesa na e bedu baby no. Say dem dey kan na be say e man kwa. Oh, so this is yeah.
Pano moto hampers na jewelry.
Oh, went to jewelry ni hampers ni ade ni na. Want to live
Paper try dey promo aye fine. How much the don kasa about time. Obi a waye obi papa. Obi a che say ase mostly no mo be bia ba mo twade de ama o mase. Oh ane omo maame ane bi omo ma che say obi on ne fine. Pacho bi wo Holland wo mo ABC wo mi wo GTP wo che say mi wo variety ni nyina wo ba. You have a request to be a
GTP say.
But your GTP no get 100. At the pan 13. And at the padumas near 15.
Now so far the end of matter
Pacho almost tougher. Almost tougher. They went to me grant to cross me was in mammy 4 years me fan come. What you say?
Nanka first in the Mother's Day and then near tried dear. Ntoma bia na obia wona ne na hoten beso obi beto GT obi beto Holland obi beto High Target obi beto Printers ni nyina ntina na hoten Mother's Day we there ngu so corona 19 ama say business ni bibia ai pasa and from last year to say so we pay to be a person ye no yen efri ho nti se say ye na nkofo ba omoto ayituma onti so be ba se ne Mother's Day metori.
Now let's speak to some Ghanaians to find out from them what they are buying for their mothers on this special occasion.
If you have a mother, you have to cherish her because it's not easy, you know. It's not easy. Parenting is hard, so you have to appreciate your mom. Even every day, it's not only Mother's Day, it's every day. So my mom is Nanaya Santua from Asifosu. I say happy Mother's Day to you. I love you.
We are getting her a hamper, which includes GTP gloves, jewelry, a chain, and a box of chocolate. I wish her long life and prosperity, and thank her for everything she has been doing for me, and she been there for me. I thank her very much, and I love her so much.
Wow, I have 2 things that I want to buy for my mother. I'll buy something nice like a teddy bed, and I'll also buy one of the nice chain that I've never put my hands on top.
I will say, my parents in around no. I mean so mumu. So it's not easy. My mother is mother. Obatampa, you can't find anywhere. Obadan for Kronam Street, you cry or man, any say any mamia or appreciate it. No matter what I was trying to say is, if there's any hindrances between you and your parents, let it go. Parents are parents. No matter what, they are still your mother. They are still your father.
You've heard some traders speaking to GhanaWeb, according to them, business is not really flowing as expected, but half loaf, they say, is better than none. And it's Tina Sewa Asante reporting for GhanaWeb Business.
Powers and principalities.
There's so much fire inside me.
Tragedy struck when part of the largest hillside at the kosher rubbish dump collapsed.
It's going to be fun to see how he goes about approaching this game.
We table issues relating to the arts and entertainment for a riveting discussion, of course, without fear nor favor.
The question the presenter asked them was a dumb question. You need to speak the part and move.
Varied views. We agree to disagree.
So I would disagree with everything you said. I think that he's a smart guy. I think what he did.
No, but I also said he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I guess that I'm waiting for the what next. Yeah,
I don't think that we have to wait for what next.
It sometimes gets confrontational, but that's the beauty of the game.
It's not my brother. I don't know him. You don't know funny face. It's not my brother. You don't know funny face.
It's a package. We meet, we sit, we dialogue, we learn, we progress. My name is Benefo Wabin Abrantepa, a proud blogger, and this is my forum.
at Katechikrum in the German South municipality of the Bono region to unravel the circumstances that led to the missing of a child in May 2007 and her subsequent return in May 2021. A clear case of lost and found, but in a mysterious way. This is Katechikrum, and I'm here to find out.
Yeah, 2007. And probably Nundu. Na ne maame ye aduane to no. Nti ebo be se 10 na aduane no asa. Year 2007, 3rd May. Nti maame no wie no ohwehwe ne ba na one no akwa afum. Ohwehwe ne ti asa hu no. Nti de ba ne se announcement. Nti oya announcement ni we film still ye hu akora no. Na ya ne maame koye case e ma do police. The police for no be kan KT4 boys do ho.
mo mutigu wam e hwɛ de bɛyɛ sɛ 2 weeks yɛ ho akora no nti de ba na sɛ yɛsɛ yɛgya akyiri di because na ne sɛ yɛda sɛ bia obi awi ano anase akɔwu ato baabi nti yɛgya akyiri di nti hɔ de no de wohwɛ a na yɛdi yawa kɔpem na ano da afiwe ya 3rd May ya yɛte sɛ akwa bi wɔ TV de radio so a ɔhwehwɛ na busuafo enti no ne ma metumi ka kɔ hɔ okoduru yɛ no na kyɛ sɛ na ne bo akora no anuma na hu sɛ ne ba no a nti obisa no asɛm sɛ ofiri he na de ani asi nti de akora no kan ne sɛ ɔkɔtena uma bi nkyɛn saa mɛro na uma no de na ayɛ sɛ ne ba nti no no onim sɛ ne ma me wɔ baabi nti na dwen nyinaa nim sɛ uma no ne ba no no nti akyire na yare bo woman no a stroke obo woman no nti woman no hu se nya de a obeti apo nti dabako no frɛ akoraro no ka che ne se nasi me ye sorry se me de wa beduru ha na nya me ye fumba no na kuru bi wo bona hafo a ye frɛ ho drobo na kura ase nti hono me ko fawo sa me na me to medjoa na me ba fi ona oho ye mfe na ya bu tie sisi so na wo ye mfe me so ma ngoda na me fa ofiri wo ma me no wo pa achi nti wo ye drobuni nti no se mi wu a wo modna se ba hwe wo ma me no wo pa achi akwan nti akora no asem a oba ya amane a ode boye no no
ndi na nsichira na me wo ma me bi nche o dambai nti na me se ma me no ma me nti oba ba wu no ka che me se oba fa no fi drobo na misha na me be 2 years na me fa nti o ka che me ye no di no ka che me se papa di ndi ko fi amufa otwa abe na mma m dị ndị abụna nọchiwa nti owu wie na busiafo ni efan na efu mmiri ana mma m sika ana m de bai nfa akraka ewo damba besi akra na m sa masika ebesi masi na mfa sunyane ka ebesi sunyane mfa droboka
Achoga lofo akora no be no okono no onye yarefo na ni ba bia nya ne ya ka na furu akora na o he ma onye yare no yin ni kura okọ no a chapa wo bisa ya ye hu ni no abasa asano be no dimrika nam amambo aka se wo ha dimrika kwato amram menam yenu nyina oyem nya ndimi nko papa so awu ye ya no papa no susa papa no so awu ye ya ndimi sra bafo mamu na me fa hemba no na nani no nkura no mam
ni ane abaya no yela ayem ba nya ni ne na ka chere se ni ye bia ma yela tina no joda no bedu nti me ne se aba o hwe na ni kula bi bia chere se ni nya se de nya me asese
oyira ye na me wo ya na me de nya me asese akoda no oyira ye fie di na idi afi eye na no wada na me de nya me ase kese se akoda no kwasa fie dudu na nya me aye ya don ama akoda no aba be kan yensa me de Yesu Kristo ase na ye osun nyame bia no osun nyame. Amen.
That is the story surrounding the mysterious disappearance of Nancy some 14 years ago. A document with me from the then Radio Omega showed that a public announcement was made on 4th May 2007 following her disappearance. Thank God she's in. The family has chronicled events leading to her disappearance, and Nancy herself has confirmed events surrounding her mysterious disappearance and her staying with a mysterious woman at Dambai. The family has also made an appeal to the general public to come to their aid in helping her undergo an eye surgery as she suffered some kind of damage to her right eye. In all this, one thing is certain. Parents are supposed to be meticulous when it comes to taking care of their children. From Katachie Krom, this is Abajado Frank for GhanaWeb.
We have financed during this period the construction of ongoing interchanges across the country, including those at Takoradi, Tamale, Tema, Obechebi-Lamte, and Pokwasi to ease traffic and enhance productivity. Never in our history have we seen such activity of interchanges to ease traffic. Despite the impact of the pandemic, the rate of growth, let me not forget our investment in railways that is also going on in the Western Railway line to be able to move our resources more effectively. We've come up maybe with a figure north of $10 billion dollars or so if we were to look at, fixing every road around this country. So how do we balance all of that in a way and be strategic in a way in which the most vexed areas are taken care of, and somehow we spread that. So that is going to be an administrative feat in terms of charging the ministry to do. But I think we have spent a lot more than most administrations have done on the road issue.
He was once beaten up for asking his friends to get him oranges to eat. It's
not easy. You booming in Colania. Because you are to Baku catch them, say, Minkumi. Semiqua, no bini, Ubiani, and I'm in the coy. But I know free so can't be bina a booming. You call her rank or Mamiska 1,000 cities by then. And I miss you, one far so over to assassin, keep his can. Then, Mammy Crawford will be a Johnny Jab because Sikaba and my promise can.
Emmanuel Jikuno Tepa shares his story on The Untold on GhanaWeb TV on Monday, May 10, 2021. Do make a date.
Left behind.
Be addressing through you the good people of this country on a number of issues. I want to start by quickly acknowledging the presence of a number of persons who are here with us. We have with us directors and officials of the Ministry of Finance. We have with us one of the Honorable Deputy Ministers designate for Finance, the Honorable John Kuma, Member of Parliament for Ejiso. We have with us the Honorable Abena Osei Asare, Member of Parliament for Etiwa East. also a Deputy Minister for Finance Designate. We have with us Professor Dambafo, who is an advisor to the ministry responsible for finance. And we will be addressed by the Honorable Minister responsible for finance, the Honorable Kenneth Nanayao Kuntum Kununkum in Furiata. Honorable Minister will make some remarks, and then with the allotted time we have subsequently, we will take questions from you, and I will serve as moderator for it. Honorable Minister.
So thank you indeed. Thank you very, very much for this. Good afternoon and welcome to our Ministry of Finance. Today marks, unfortunately, the 20th anniversary of the 9th May Accra Sports Stadium disaster. And if we could please observe a minute of silence for them. May the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace, and may the families left behind remain comforted in the Lord. Thank you for welcoming us to your homes this Sunday, the motherly day of all days, to discuss building our nation. I also like to take this opportunity to thank the many, many Ghanaians who prayed and stood in the gap for me for God's miraculous healing during my post-COVID multi-scheme inflammatory symptom that occurred. We do thank you and give the glory to God for this. Today is the first of many updates and dialogues on progress on key government programs and bread and butter concerns of Ghanaians. I am truly grateful for the opportunity to engage with you personally. Over the past few weeks, I've been following the healthy conversations that started following the hashtag Fix the Country, a social media campaign primarily initiated by the youth. I actually have met the representative of the conveners to understand and explore collective solutions over what the conveners describe as, I quote, a failure on the part of successive governments to improve the lives of Ghanaians. And this is true, as you know. We've had some 17 IMF programs. The last one we exited not quite too long ago, and the president promised never again. I acknowledge that these are challenging times for many of us, and we, like almost all the countries in the world, are living through the worst economic crisis since 1918, the Spanish flu, and certainly since the Great Depression. Africa may potentially lose a decade of its economic growth because of the intervention of the pandemic. A time that has put a great burden on the necessities of lives and livelihoods never before seen in our recent history. Unfortunately, these external shocks have heightened Ghana's perennial problems, which we are committed to address as an administration. In extraordinary times, you should expect exceptional leadership from your administration, or government. I truly believe we cannot ensure exceptional leadership without a collective effort from all of us. So I commend the youth for calling on government and leaders to be at their best. This shows the patriotism of Ghanaian youth, echoing the president's call to be a citizen and not a spectator. You have elected us to solve the problems that face this country. We will continue to work with you and other stakeholders to do just that. Until we were hit by the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020, we were on course to achieving the objectives to stabilize and grow the economy, create jobs, especially for the youth, modernize, digitize, and formalize the economy, to ensure social mobility for all with education, skills, and access to capital. providing social protection for the vulnerable, and create a safe and secure environment for citizens and businesses to thrive. As government, we took the following measures, among others, to address the structural challenges of the economy. We implemented flagship initiatives such as 1D, 1F, One Village, One Dam, Planting for Food and Jobs, and IPEP in the real sector to accelerate economic activities and help create jobs. We introduced restored or enhanced social protection policies to support restored or enhanced social protection policies to support the vulnerable and address the pertinent issues of joblessness. These interventions include the free senior high school program with over 1.2 million enrollments, the Zongo Development Fund program, school feeding program now of over 3.4 million beneficiaries, the LEAP program, Livelihood Empowerment Program, with over 334,000 households, Nation Builders Corps with 100,000 beneficiaries, allowances for teachers, trainees for some 47,000 beneficiaries, allowances for nursing trainees with some 50,825 beneficiaries. Fortunately, we've been able to preserve jobs in the public sector in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. We acknowledge that as a nation, we need to do more to ensure decent incomes for all Ghanaians. However, even at these levels, compensation of public sector employees represents 52.4% of our domestic revenue. We implemented several digitization programs to transform the economy, formalize the informal sector, and increase efficiency in public service delivery. These initiatives include the issuance of over 15 million national ID cards, the digital addressing system for over 7 million homes, mobile money payment interoperability system, the introduction of the paperless port system, automation of driver's license and vehicle registration, renewal of NHIS registration, land records digitization with blockchain technology, and automation of passport application. For the first time in Ghana's history, we established 2 social partnership programs, one of organized labor and the Ghana Employers Association, the other of faith-based organizations, to provide a platform for a cohesive and trustful relationship between the partners on issues of national development. We took a financial sector on the brink with much courage, cleaned it to build a more robust financial ecosystem that is well capitalized, liquid, and solvent to fund our development. By this initiative, we saved the hard-earned savings of 4.6 million depositors, 81,700 investors, and protected 3,000 direct jobs. We won the bid as a country to host the Secretariat of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, positioning Ghana and Ghanaian businesses as a gateway partner and spearhead Ghana as a hub for the Africa region. In addition to Google setting up its Regional Artificial Intelligence Center in Accra, Twitter recently announced that it will put its Africa headquarters in Accra. In addition, GIPC is working assiduously to attract the likes of Amazon to Ghana to deepen the tech entrepreneurial ecosystem for Ghanaian entrepreneurs and to capture the future. After 4 years of implementing these prudent measures, the Ghanaian economy witnessed a turnaround. Between 2017 and 2019, the economy grew by 7% on average in response to government's prudent management of the economy and implementation of the flagship programs, being one of the highest and sustained growth periods in our history. As a result, you saw single-digit inflation of 7.9%, reduced fiscal deficits with 3 consecutive years of primary surpluses, relatively stable exchange rate, significant improvement in the current account with 3 successive years of trade surpluses, strong foreign exchange reserve buffers covering 4 months of import cover, and relatively low and sustained interest rates of about 13%. As a result of the prudent measures, the economy continued to remain resilient in 2020, even at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in our 64 years of nationhood, a Ghanaian government had to tackle a severe health crisis and its attendant economic crisis. The outbreak and the ensuing partial lockdown to contain the spread of the virus and protect lives brought socioeconomic activities to a virtual halt, and that was also globally. With the resultant loss of jobs, incomes, the collapse of businesses, and loss of government revenue. The decisive and I must say unparalleled measures we took to protect Ghanaians have come at a cost, as seen in the sudden relapse in the debt situation from 62.4% in 2019 to 76.1% in 2020. However, taking a similar sudden rise in debt burdens of countries around the world over the same period may be indicative of the time we live in and where we are coming from. South Africa moved from 62.2% in 2019 to 82.6% in 2020, Rwanda from 50.7% in 2019 to 61.6% in 2020, Zambia 91.9% in 2019 to 119.97% in 2020, and the UK from 85.4% in 2019 to 100.9% in 2020. From the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020, President Akufo-Addo laid out the 5 key objectives government sought to achieve. 1, to limit and stop the importation of the virus. 2, contain its spread. 3, provide adequate care for the sick. 4, limit the impact of the virus on socio-economic life. And 5, inspire the expansion of our domestic capability and deepen our self-reliance. The President made it an utmost priority to protect Ghanaian lives above all else. This is captured in his now world-famous quotation, "We know what to do to bring our economy back to life. What we do not know is how to do is to bring people back to life." On the fiscal front, the impact of the pandemic led to a downward revision of revenues by 13.4 billion, 3.5% of GDP, and expenditures by additional 11.8 billion, 3.1% of GDP, with a combined fiscal impact of 25.2 billion, 6.5% of GDP. As a result of the President's quick and decisive leadership, the government came through for its citizens, responded swiftly and strongly, even as tax collections were drying up. As a result, government spent about 8.134 billion, about 8.1% of expenditures, and 15.1% of domestic revenues to preserve livelihoods. The government provided 1.8 million and 917,000 cooked food packs to vulnerable and underprivileged persons within Accra and Kumasi during the lockdown period. In addition, in partnership with faith-based organizations, government also distributed dry food packages to about 470,000 families during the period of the partial lockdown in Greater Accra and Greater Kumasi. The government fully covered the consumption of electricity for over 1 million Lifeline customers and subsidized 50% of the consumption of all other customers for that period. Over 10 million fellow Ghanaians benefited from free water supplied by Ghana Water Company Limited between April to December. As a result, the average monthly water supply of 9.24 million cubic meters increased by 43.21% to reach 13.23 million cubic meters. Further, 474 small towns and 1,100 rural communities benefited from the Community Water and Sanitation Agency. Under the Operation Return Home program, the government assisted over 10,000 Ghanaians whose circumstances had been worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic to return home. The government launched and operationalized the 750 million Coronavirus Alleviation Program Business Support Scheme, CAP-BUS, which mitigated the impact of the pandemic on several micro, small, and medium-term enterprises. At the end of April 2021, about 412 million CDs have been dispersed to support 277,000 businesses, 69% being female-owned. The scheme has saved over 650,000 jobs in the micro, small, and medium enterprises sector. The Bank of Ghana also strongly supported with a reduction in monetary policy rates by 150 basis points, reduction of capital adequacy ratio by 150 basis points, and reduction of primary reserve requirements by 200 basis points, among others, to ensure that there was credit to support larger businesses. In doing so, government ensured that the worst possible impact of the pandemic was averted. However, let me stress that to ensure a complete recovery, we need to invest more in the organizational capital of Ghanaian businesses going forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also fixing this rising debt burden on Ghana. The debt stock as of end December 2020 stood at a nominal figure of 291 billion, representing 76.1% of GDP, compared to 218 billion, equivalent to 62.4% of GDP in 2019. The total public debt has increased from 122 billion, 56.9% of GDP in 2016 to the current 292 billion, 76.1% of GDP at the end of December 2020. Included in the debt stock and the debt to GDP ratio at the end of 2020 are the following non-recurrent burdens that we had to deal with as a matter of urgency. A fiscal impact of COVID-19 of 25.2 billion, cost of financial sector cleanup of 21 billion, cost of excess capacity charges paid to IPPs of 12 billion, the impact of the reduction in growth from an average of 7% to 0.4% in 2020. If these expenditures are excluded and the drop in GDP growth in 2020 primarily attributable to COVID-19 pandemic is taken into account, the total stock of debt for 2020 would have been approximately 239 billion, implying a debt to GDP ratio of 58.7%, which is way below the ECOWAS threshold of 70%. To put things in perspective, between 2004 and 2008, Ghana's debt stock increased by 30%. Between 2008 and 2012, the debt stock increased by 269%. Between 2012 and 2016, the increase in the debt stock was 243%. Between 2016 and 2020, the increase in the debt stock was 137%. This includes the cost of the banking sector cleanup, excess capacity charges, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. We have financed during this period the construction of ongoing interchanges across the country, including those at Takoradi, Tamale, Tema, Obechebi-Lamte, and Pokwase, to ease traffic and enhance productivity. Never in our history have we seen such activity of interchanges to ease traffic. Despite the impact of the pandemic, the rate of growth, let me not forget our investment in railways that is also going on in the Western Railway line to be able to move our resources more effectively. Despite the impact of the pandemic, the rate of growth of the public debt has been lower under our government than under previous administrations. The rate of debt growth was lower despite massive investment in our flagship programs such as Free SHS, Planting for Food and Jobs, NAPCO, One District, One Factory, One Ambulance, One Constituency, One Village, One Dam, restoration of teacher and nursing training allowances, among others, while maintaining relative macroeconomic and exchange rate stability. Notwithstanding, as President Akufo-Addo said on February 21st, 2017, and I quote, "I was not elected by the overwhelming majority of the Ghanaian people to complain or compare. I was elected to get things done. I was elected to fix what is broken, and my government and I are determined to do just that." we commit to working with fellow Ghanaians to do just that. Ladies and gentlemen, in the coming days, we will move swiftly to address some of the issues that the hashtag Fix the Economy have raised. First, I'm working with the Minister for Water and Sanitation to immediately ensure potable water to areas of critical need. Second, I'm working with the Ministers of Road and Highways and Transport and Interior to address congestion along the major highways. Third, we are fast-tracking the implementation of the 200 million Jobs and Skills Program and Economic Transformation Program to enhance job creation significantly. This intervention is designed to facilitate new and expanded private sector businesses to employ more people. This, we believe, is a more sustainable way to rebuild this economy instead of expanding government employment schemes. Fourth, starting this month, we are rolling out over 8 additional interventions under the Ghana Cares Obatampa program. These will be in the health, agriculture, tourism, trade, digitization, science and technology, housing, and financial services. Fifth, by the end of July, we'll have a new development bank capitalized at over $500 million that will provide long-term wholesale financing, not retail as happened in the past, to the private sector through commercial banks and non-bank financial institutions such as venture capital companies for SMEs to ensure financing to support the youth. The good people of Ghana have given us a mandate to get things done. For us as a government, this is a clarion call for a national conversation on the shared burden to renew the social contract of our democracy. At its minimum, we should ensure social justice and social mobility for all Ghanaians. At our best, we should open for all Ghanaians an economic system under which each citizen shall be guaranteed the opportunity to show the best in him or her. As I always have said, I'll commit to working to fix those structures that will set Ghana on this path to a righteous economy that ensures open access and property ownership for all. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end, permit me to take this opportunity to wish our mothers, wives, sisters a happy Mother's Day. Out of their daily toils, we can face each other to fix our challenges in building this nation. God bless our mothers abundantly. So let us rise up and build together, as in Nehemiah 2:18. Let us fix this together and save lives for our country. Thank you, and God bless us all.
Honourable Minister, grateful for your presentation. I was making a few notes, and you can correct me if I got you correctly. You've done about 5 things. You've been reminding us about what we collectively did in the last 4 years to fix this economy. Then you've also been reminding us about the real impact of COVID-19 on the transformation agenda. You've been talking about government's acknowledgement that we need to do more. And if I got the number of initiatives right, you have just reiterated about 5 major structural efforts that government has already commenced in fixing this economy. And finally, you are calling what is going on a healthy conversation. And if I heard you well, you are introducing your own hashtag. Is that what that fix this together?
That's correct.
Honourable Minister, I want to invite our colleagues in the media who have questions at this point to file. Colleagues, I'll take not more than 3 rounds of questions. So if you give me a wave, I'll take your questions now, and then I will have an opportunity to come back. Daniel, I see your hand. I see another hand here. Are there any more? Then there's a call. There's a lady, of course. We're always, in support of affirmative action. Yes, it's Mother's Day. So I'll start with the lady. I'll start with the lady, and then I'll come to Daniel, and then I'll come to you. And then there was another hand somewhere at the back here. No, I think there was a 4th I picked already in the first batch. 1, 2, 3. Then that'll be 4. So, madam, I'll send the microphone to you. Please introduce yourself and let's hear your question.
My name is Nana Oye Ankra. I work at Asasi Radio. There is a pandemic, which means that our policies have to be reshaped. And Minister mentioned that they are fast-tracking, or you are fast-tracking the implementation of the 200 million jobs and skills program to enhance job creation significantly. And he said this intervention is designed to facilitate new and expanded private sector businesses. I have also monitored the campaign on social media. One of the questions the people are asking is, what is government doing to create jobs for the people? They want to see government jobs. They want to see government companies. Now there's a success story. For some time now, you don't get to buy a coffee. You want a coffee to buy. You don't get some on the market. So we want to know what exactly, apart from working with private sector, what government is doing to create more jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Go to Daniel. Then I'll switch on the microphone and then let's hear you.
Right. Okay. Mr. Minister, I heard the Information Minister say when he was summarizing your speech that these are things that were already in motion. I'm seeing some specific interventions here that were named by the Fix the Country protesters, and I want to know if this is in direct response to them, or we should go by the Information Minister's words that these were things that were already in the pipeline. Also, this is a very wide-reaching protest, and I'm referring to it because you did for a number of occasions in your speech. They've called for structural change. They've asked for a change in paradigm. They've asked for a change of the way we think about our economy. Is it your view that the interventions you mentioned adequately address the concerns that have been raised by the protesters?
Thank you, Mr. Dazi. And just to be clear, I was saying that what I heard him do was to reiterate some things. So just to put it in context. Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. My name is Clefe Kufu. I write for the Ghanaian Times. Minister, I would want to find out what you are doing, or what government is doing to get Ghanaians to rally around the call for sharing the burden. What campaign has been put in place to ensure that Ghanaians rally around the call you are making? The second question is, in your estimation, how much will it cost the country if government decided that for this particular year we were going to fix all our broken down roads? How much is it going to cost the country? And then my last question is on the 101 hospitals. I didn't hear you say anything on the 101 hospitals. The initial 88 and then stepped up to 101. I didn't hear anything.
So what's the status of Agenda 111? All right. Yes, so let me take yours as the final, and then we'll respond and come for a second batch.
I'm Freight Dalanyo Megashi with GH1 Television. Considering our current debt stock being more than 75% of GDP, would you describe our economic status as highly indebted? And what does government have to show to all Ghanaians as proof that the over 170 billion cedis in borrowed funds were prudently used for viable national investments to justify the introduction of what some have described as killer taxes in collectively shouldering the burden? And again, as we look to rebuild the economy by raising taxes, can you tell us how much you lost to the both PDS arrangements, and have we paid money as a state to procure the vaccines needed to achieve the herd immunity, even as we look to economic recovery? And if we have, how much have we paid, and how many doses are coming in? Thank you very much.
So, Minister, let me just recap. Oye is asking, what do we say to the call that we want government jobs? How do we reconcile that with this whole question of private sector jobs, etc.? And she went into an example of a Ekonfi, etc. And she relates that to a hint you gave in your presentation about fast-tracking the $200 million jobs program. Are those government jobs or those are private sector jobs? That it appears more people are interested in government jobs as against private sector jobs. Daniel is asking, for clarity, are these initiatives you are talking about new initiatives in response to the broad-based calls out there, or they are, as I suggested earlier, a reiteration of government existent programs, which may suggest that, what, did you see this incoming, or etc.? There's a second question he has about whether or not this list you've given us adequately addresses the various concerns that have come. How much confidence do you have that what you already have in your brown bag adequately addresses the concerns of the Ghanaian today? Ghanaian Times has about 3 questions. How are we, because you talked of shared burden, and let's fix this together. He's asking, how are we mobilizing to rally around the entire country for everybody to realize their role in this shared burden so that we can do this? Or is it just something we are just saying and then we'll go to bed? And then he asked a specific question about roads. If you said we are fixing all the roads now, how much would it cost? What would it mean for the broader economic activity? And by the way, Agenda 111 was the latest. And then GH1, 75% plus of GDP. Would you describe us as highly indebted? And what do we have to say or to show that the borrowing in times past was prudently used? And so it is now time for us to share the burden and all contribute some more. And then finally, he's asking, have we paid money for any vaccines? And if so, do we have any numbers to share? Minister, we're in your hands.
Great. Thank you very much indeed for these questions. I think Oye's question really, in a sense, gets to the heart of this, that this is not a government that is working in reflex. The $200 million programs for economic transformation and jobs and skills started planning this some 2-3 years ago with the World Bank, and finally coming to fruition now. So certainly is a government that has always had a clarity on the plan that we have for the nation, and we can see the strength of the economy 2017 to 2020, an ability because of the robustness to be able to handle 2020, and a continuum with the Obatampa program with projects like these which were already pre-thought of to go on. And so I think at this point in time, you talk about a CUMFI, but there's some 181 companies well on the road with regards to 1D, 1F that we continue to encourage to support. These are all, I mean, I think we gave some numbers for government compensation, wages, etc. on the public sector. And I think we are stretched to the seams. And really, for us, as a right-to-center government, it's always been an issue of strengthening the private sector for them to create that access to jobs and funds to do that. Then we had a question from Mr. Dadzi, which sort of dovetails into this. This certainly is not a reflex, but I actually took the chance to meet up with representatives of the group to appreciate, empathize, for them to realize that we are just not sitting back, and that we should also, as a nation, realize the impact of COVID-19 on all that we have been doing. We can't pretend that it has not occurred. We have to be clear on how we had to readjust our economic program to be able to save life first, because that really, in the end, the sanctity of life of any citizen cannot be compromised. And then it will bring certain burdens on us. But I think we all know that it is really global. So we need to get through that. We can't compromise, or that the president is quite clear about the protection of each citizen's life, and then at the same time pushing us for a growth agenda that we have to work together on to ensure that we bring back the type of growth that we had in the first 3.5 years of this government. So we'll continue with that without relenting. Ghanaian Times, I think in the end the issue of sharing the burden is one in which we've had some very serious discussions with the Ministry of Information about really creating a national conversation on that, so that everybody has the true numbers, everybody understands the impact of COVID. I think even the group indicated that successive governments, have had issues, so that maybe we reorder, the way in which we engage as a country. I mean, we, for the first time in our history, have a social partnership with labor and employers that has never happened before, that we meet quarterly, make sure that we understand their needs, put them in the budget, and then also understanding that the faith-based organizations are in more places than even the government can be. And therefore, how do you integrate the sociology into our economy's progress and development? And they came in very strongly during the lockdown period, in which they went to the most vulnerable people to support the sharing of dry foods. But even in addition to that, we've gone further to look at their skills training programs, in which we've supported them to make sure that their congregants are also beginning to benefit from that. And that is us admitting that we may not be the best people as individuals in government, and there are smarter people out there. And how do you then understand our own sociology to bring everybody into this type of movement, which has to be shared? So the cost will continue to be high, given the nature of the pandemic. I keep saying that this is not a passing ship or frigate. It's going to be more than a 2, 3, 4 year issue that we have to deal with, and understand the nexus between health and finance and what it is doing, so that we can ensure that our people are protected. I think we've come up maybe with a figure north of $10 billion dollars or so, if we were to look at fixing every road around this country. So how do we balance all of that in a way and be strategic in a way in which the most vexed areas are taken care of, and somehow we spread that. So that is going to be an administrative feat in terms of charging the ministry to do. But I think we have spent a lot more than most administrations have done on the road issue. On the issue of hospitals, which has come the Agenda 111, really I think it's an exciting intervention that is relevant and brings the whole issue of citizenship up for everyone. Yes, what we are doing is working with GIF to make sure that they participate in the development of these hospitals. And what we did was to segregate the equipment from the construction, to make sure that the construction will be led by Ghanaian companies. I think they have received some 90 odd land sites from the districts, of which they validated maybe about 76. We still are maintaining the 15 million per each hospital on average, and they should, I guess, in short order, be able to begin to start. But we, as a ministry, has committed to depositing money with GIF, so that GIF can be the intermediary for this one. And we are looking at GIF as a way in which to do a lot more private and public partnerships so that it will be more efficient and market driven. So both affordable housing, major roads such as the Tema motorway and hospitals. And once the development company is also in existence, they will be able to feed more resources to give to make it stronger. Ghana One has a lot of questions which I presume were written before my speech, and therefore in there really is an understanding and empathy of exactly what we have done with the debt, how it impacts. You know, I really am not very good about sensationalism if the facts are not there, because I think it's a very sensitive issue. I mean, you can create a heightened sense of a country which could hurt the nation. And so for journalists and all, what we are trying to do is to put the facts out there. You know, now you understand why it is that the whole globe, you know, has gotten to a new normal in which these debt to equity ratios have just fallen off the scale. The question then is, how do we together understand the problem we have, how we all share the burden to be able to move forward, and where it is. So when you use things like pernicious tax that have been brought, you know, where are we going as a nation, and what do we do? Do we want to borrow more, or do we want to find a way in which, with a debt to GDP, with a revenue to GDP of 14 or 15%, we need to move to 20%, and therefore, what is the input, you know, from all of us as citizens as to how to get to the 20%, to get another 30 billion to be able to move forward. You know, I mean, if we look at various periods, as I mentioned, there's been about 17 IMF programs, you know, because we have been not too transparent, or we've been disingenuous with the statistics, and create a sense of, you know, of governments that may not be doing what they have to do. But clearly, even if I was to look at each period, you know, from the 60s through now, I mean, I heard somebody talk about work and happiness and romanticizing that period. That period was a period in which we had over 9% debt to GDP. We had over 9% deficit. Growth had tanked below 3% or so. You know, so we need to be clear on where we are. We need to understand the setting in which we are in, and then we need to be able to have a government that listens, incorporates what you have, but really in a Ghanaian sociology to lead in the way in which we move forward. So I appreciate your questions, but things like killer taxes, etc., really foments, you know, a certain degree of crisis that is without contest. And so I think we need to look at that well. I think issues of PDS, etc., you know, can be answered in another forum. Vacuums, vaccines, what have we were, of course, quite privileged to get the 650 from COVAS that we are doing. We are having to put some down payments for other vaccines that we are expected to do. And right now, there are about 1.2 billion doses that have been done universally. Africa has done about 20 million doses so far, and Ghana has done about 1 million, you know. So we really are ensuring that we are protecting our lives and caring for that. Thank you.
Minister, thank you. I'll take a second batch I'll take a second batch and then I'll take a final batch. So I'll start with 1, 2. Echo, you haven't spoken, and there's a gentleman in the corner, 4, and then I'll take the rest in the final batch. Yes, sir, let's start with you.
All right, thank you. I have 2 questions actually. My name is Senaf. Senaf, I work with GH1 TV and Star FM. One thing is about one key concern that the folks on the campaign, the Fix the Country campaign, have is about low wages in the country. I just wanted to understand if the Finance Ministry can confirm if it's because employers are compensating workers unfairly, or we rather have a low output in the country, which is what is resulting in poor wages across the board. And then I know the government has continuously touted that you're working to make the country a rather global and vibrant economy, and which is why you are inviting a lot of foreign companies and global companies to set up shop here and then do business and then engage with the country. So I just wanted to understand what the arrangements are for ensuring equity, so that folks in the country and employees in the country can benefit well from these opportunities that are coming in, so that it does not happen that these global institutions are taking advantage of the opportunities that exist within the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. My name is Nana Poku from the Research Light. There's a general outcry that doing business at the port today is very expensive. And people are complaining bitterly, because I have a friend who said that he used to import a particular container for 13,000 Ghana. Now he's paying about 40,000 Ghana. What is accounting for that? And then
So the question is, what's accounting for the increase in port charges?
doing business at the port. I mean, duties and things have gone up.
Increase in freight charges.
Yes. And then I also want to find out from Minister, how much has accrued to the COVID fund, and what has been used for? Can you itemize it? Because Ghanaians want to know the account, how you have used the money for item by item basis, if it's possible to do that. Okay, then tell me, since people are refusing to understand the world order, the world economic order, what extra thing can you do? Because you explain to people, they still want to understand. They have made up their mind that the government is not doing well. But here's the case that's not coming from the government, but it's a whole world economic order. What extra thing can you do to appease the minds of people so that, the tensions will come down?
Thank you. Echo, let me hear you. And then there was a hand we chose somewhere here. Yes, sir. You'll be the final. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Honorable. My name again is Echo from Bloomberg. You spoke about putting some money down for the purchase of vaccines. On the back of what has happened in India and the subsequent shortage of these vaccines, especially the COVAX or AstraZeneca ones, are you going to do some mini supplementary of a sort just so that we can do some procurement of vaccines? And the pharmaceutical, just in favor of vaccines, maybe like just a special what do you call it, provision that you put together,
So
just so that.
Supplementary arrangement, not necessarily supplementary budget.
No, yeah. Thanks for that correction. A supplementary arrangement in respect of purchasing of or procurement of vaccines. Also on vaccines, the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Ghana have said they have approached the like of AstraZeneca towards the local manufacturing of COVID vaccines here. What they require is government guarantee, almost like to say, we'll buy it if you produce it. If they were to get that guarantee, they could go ahead and start the processes to locally manufacture COVID vaccines, thereby saving us some cost. Are you going to give these guarantees?
Or are we in discussions with them in any way?
Yeah. And maybe in how far that is, if that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kester Crunchy. I write for the Daily Graphic. My first question is, the finance minister made mention of the fact that we need to he was saying that we need to invest more in the organizational capital of Ghanaian businesses to help the country recover from the shocks of COVID-19. I wanted to know what his ministry is going to do in that regard to help us invest more or do more to help in the organizational capital of Ghanaian businesses. My second question is on COVID-19 vaccines. I was at the airport on Friday when the COVAS facility from Congo came to the country. And I spoke to the Chief Director of the Ministry of Health, Mr. Oku Afai. And he made mention that there is a difficulty on the part of government to procure vaccines. And that even though you have money, there is trouble in getting some of the vaccines to buy. And he said the COVAS facility that was coming from Congo was a timely intervention. And the government was very grateful for that. So I'm asking, we all know that this facility was diverted to Ghana because Congo couldn't utilize it. So if Congo had utilized it, was there any measure to ensure that the vaccination program continues without having any effect on those who are going to take the first shot? So these two questions. What are we doing to ensure that we raise organizational capital for Ghanaian businesses?
Understood.
Understood. We can fully recover from that.
Understood. Minister, so the first question is on the subject of low wages. Are you saying that government is unfairly compensating, or you're saying that it is a product, employers are unfairly compensating, or it's a product of, or it's an outcome of low productivity? Did I get your question correct? Yeah. And then what are we also doing to ensure that the foreign direct investments that are coming into the country are of benefit for the average Ghanaian, and that the average Ghanaian is not shortchanged? Correct? Okay. The next question is that there are reports of increases in freight charges. Can you tell us what may account for those? And it appears that some persons just don't want to understand what is going on in the world with COVID and its impact on economics and how governments are having to react. Do you have any other measures up your sleeves, especially when you are confronted with a situation where people just have made up their minds that they won't understand anything that you say? Is that your question, sir? Thank you. A call from Bloomberg is asking, knowing the shortage of supply from India, do you have any supplementary measures to show up the portion of vaccines that we are purchasing? And are you in discussions with the pharmaceutical group in Ghana? And if so, what is your position on this talk of giving them a government guarantee so that they can produce vaccines here? And then the very final one, if you can elaborate on any specifics for what you call, quote, investing in organizational capital. Chief, correct? And then apart from that, do you have any measures to ensure that the vaccination program can go on? Because it appears that if we didn't get the 350 diverted from Congo, it would have been hot. Correct? Minister, where are your hands?
Yeah, we would. On the issue of the vaccines, you know, the amazing thing about leadership is that you then find a lot of people wanting to join in the success. Okay, so yes, suddenly Congo realized that they didn't have, quote unquote, the organizational capacity to be able to administer these doses that they had, 1 million of them within the time of expiration. And Ghana, of course, has proven to. You know, so there are 50-something odd countries in Africa, and we were able to negotiate to get, 35% of that 1 million, So I am confident that, unfortunately, a lot of countries do not have the capacity to administer, and we should be able to benefit from that. I think the reality is there, and I think we all know the story as to what you called vaccine nationalism, or however you want to call it, in which India, for example, cannot think of exporting with the type of crisis that they have. I think the developed countries already pre-ordered and paid for 90% of the production. So that is skewed. So COVAS was really sort of the intervention that you needed. But beyond that reality, is our own bilateral discussions with a number of countries whom we know have stocks. And therefore, we expect that we should be able to get what we require at the appropriate time to make sure that our vaccine program is not dislocated. So it's going to be a continual fight to understand who has the vaccines. There was a call from the U.S. State Department last week to Foreign Affairs in which, the suggestions as to what they need to share, Ghana will be on top of the list. And that is what leadership does for you. You get confidence from those who have it, also wanting to be associated with success. And those are incalculable effects that the country now has. But going back to the issue of low wages and productivity, I mean, that is just a problem. I already outlined to you the extent to which public sector takes from our revenue, which also leads to how the private sector responds to wages. But the whole issue of the fight for digitalization and skills is also meant to increase productivity, which will then help for you to be able to afford to pay more decent wages, as we put it in our language. And I think we just need to continue to really introduce technology for that. On the issue of protecting Ghanaians from foreign company abuse, I think that's really an issue of administrative vigilance. And we all, coming back to the issue of organizational capital, strengthening our SMEs and captains of industry so that they can stand to negotiate properly in ownership, so we don't wake up in 10, 20 years with everything owned by foreigners without our people at the helm of that. And that has to be deliberate, and we understanding, as the Asians did, of sometimes picking winners back in certain areas of our sectors that we should dominate. And I think we are going to be quite deliberate about that. It's important for us. Research Light, I mean, I think you raise a very important point, is that are we going to continue to put, our heads in the sand, pretending we don't know what is going on in the world, and then heightening, a sense of disorderliness which might not be, but really how do we engage this new normal? And what is it that we do to create an environment in which ideas can be integrated for us to go on, and not some political adventuring if somebody wants to do that, but really what does the youth want to do? In speaking of them, clearly they are as patriotic as us, wanting to see a stronger republic. And the question then is, how do we integrate their ideas to make sure that we move forward? Is it only by demonstration? Maybe not. Is it by convening a national conversation? Maybe that's more positive. Do they fully know what we are trying to do through the development bank to support non-bank financial institutions? Maybe we need to be more forthcoming about that so that they then become the evangelists of a hopeful future. And I think that was really the spirit in which we met with them to see, because in every decade and the series of IMF programs, you can see the challenges, but you can truly also see the departure in these past 3 years with regards to macro. And without building on the macro, access to capital becomes a problem. Openness of the society becomes a problem. And when you see the Googles and the Twitters coming into being, you are beginning to broaden a space in which people can sit from their bedrooms and do businesses, without thinking of government as an alternative. But I think the point you raise is important. How do we put resources through the Ministry of Information for a very robust dialogue to be had as to how to approach this post-COVID period and make sure that the demographics of the youth are taken care of. And for me, it's important, just critical, that we do that because that's really the future for us. So thank you very much for that question. I was speaking to GhanaWeb maybe a week or two ago as the issue of cement prices and iron rods came up, and they had begun to pay, instead of $45 a ton for freight, had moved to $65 a ton, partly because of the global supply chain in which China is now trying to move as much coal to themselves as possible, and therefore sequestering a lot of freight moving vehicles. So the COVID response is also having some imported costs that we need to find a way. And the issue then of whether we can support organizational capital to strengthen our companies to be able to do these PPEs locally, etc., becomes really significant, including vaccines themselves, which a committee was set up by the President to look into manufacturing of vaccines, etc. Yeah. I don't know what is left. Bloomberg, the shortages in India. The question now becomes really bilateral discussions with the various places of storage, the US, France, Canada, etc., to see how we can, outside of COVAX, be able to do that. But also on the Africa platform, which was set up by AU, we have signed up for that, for 12 million doses of J&J, and looking to put a down payment down for that, and working with the private sector for that. So the vaccine area, AfriExim is very interested in supporting countries to build up, and as I mentioned, actually the President set up a committee to look exactly at how we can ensure that we can do this on our own. So I don't know whether Kester, we've done yours, and you're happy with where we are, organizational capital, strengthening that. The CARES program is and then in terms of guaranteeing to buy the product, I mean, I'm not sure that COVID is going anywhere soon, and it will be in our interest to protect these lives, and we'll continue with that commitment. The CARES program, if you read it well, includes a guarantee fund, it includes a development bank, it includes strengthening of MBSSI to support MSSME companies, and also for the banks to be able to further support 1D, 1F programs, coupled with the skills and jobs project and economic transformation project, then puts it in an ecosystem of support. And these are not reflexes. These are all thought through things that have been announced, and really when one sits together to put it all together, you see an ecosystem of forethought and progress to really say that we are not here for sort of whimsical responses to things, but a planned agenda to move from public sector control as we diminish that to private sector, and these are some of the things that have already been in the pipeline.
Minister, thank you. We're going to take a very final batch of questions, and then when we are done, we will wrap up. The ladies, I'm not having a lot of questions from you. Now would be a good time to exercise affirmative action in this final batch. of questions. Latif, I'll come to you, don't worry. I'll take you as part of the final, but I want to give some priority to the ladies. You are representing all the ladies, eh? On behalf of the ladies. So Latif, and then the two ladies here, I'll come to you. No, but Latif, I'll take you first, and then I'll come to the two ladies. Are there any others? There's a final one I'll take, or this will be it?
Hello.
The two of you are from the same organization. Give your question to him. Don't worry, I'll come to you. Latif, go.
Yeah, so I was doing some reading in the Global Finance magazine yesterday. They came out with a publication on world's most indebted government. And that was where I found out that our debt to GDP now stood at, as of 2020, stood at 76.66% or so. In that same report, the IMF estimate, and I'd like to quote this, that an increase of just 1% of GDP in highly quality public investment in both advanced economies and emerging markets could raise productivity by 2.7%. That is in the private investment by 10% and creates between 20 to 33 million jobs. Minister, my question is, from the Global Finance magazine, just 1% increase in GDP. Yes, global GDP. Yeah. So I want to domesticate it. I want to domesticate the question. I want to find out whether, from where you sit, Minister, in Ghana here, do you see us contributing significantly to that 1% growth in global GDP? And if you do the maths, how many Ghanaians would you estimate to get well-paid job out of that 33 million job that the Global Finance magazine estimates that would be created if this investment is really to be carried through? And my colleague earlier asked a question about our indebtedness. Now the GDP, the level of GDP to debt to GDP ratio stand at 76.66%. At what level would you not describe it to be sensationalism if people like us ask the question whether or not we are a highly indebted economy? Thank you.
I know there's an ongoing discussion, or there are negotiations on a possible increment of wages. Can we know where we are with that negotiation? Are there proposals on percentages already? I would also want to find out, people keep referring to our energy sector debt when they are talking about the fact that government doesn't have money. What are the steps to address that particular problem?
My name is, it works, right? Yeah, my name is Sarah Paco, Media General. When the minister was speaking, he said there were some interventions being put in place to ensure that some of the concerns being raised by the Fix the Country hashtag is addressed. I want to find out, is he acknowledging that some of the concerns they are raising are factual? If there are, healthy, can he specifically tell us those that he thinks are healthy, those that he thinks are exaggerated and should be ignored? He also mentioned that some allowances of nursing trainees and exactly. So I was saying that, would he acknowledge that some of the concerns they are raising are truth? Where the can he mention specific ones? Yes. We want to find out the nurses who demonstrated last week, were they part of the nursing training allowances that were being cleared for them to be absorbed? Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. You have a question on the nurses who in addition to the whether
Yes, thank you. Mr. Minister, I came for the second time because whilst you were answering our questions, I got a message from someone in Takrady on point 18, and you said that we have financed the construction of 7 ongoing interchanges across the country, including those at Takrady, Tamale, Tema, Obechebelamte, and Pokwase. This person is asking where the Takrady interchange is because he has not seen that project begin yet. Also, have you put a cost to the first and second interventions that you listed, working with the Ministry of Water and Sanitation to ensure potable water access? Which urban areas? How much is it costing? Ministry of Roads and Highways to address congestion along major highways. I ask this also because very recently there was a meeting on road accidents, and the cost item that was put there, if my memory serves me well, was 4 billion to dualize the 6 major highways. Accra Kumasi alone was 350 million. Are we looking at that? And I remember you mentioned that construction of all our roads will be about 10 billion. So he didn't give a currency. So it's dollars. Thank you. Yeah. So which roads are we looking at immediately? Why are we picking those roads? How much are they costing?
Thank you. Mr. The Global Finance Magazine has made some calculations. The question is whether you have any perspectives on those. I think he was specific how he wanted it. If you have any perspectives. There's a question about status of wage negotiations, energy sector debt, if you want to mention some of the ones you describe as healthy. Then there's a question about the nurses, and whether or not there's costing for some of the interventions. I think Daniel listed them, and the Takrady interchange that you mentioned that financing is being provided for. I think there's a question that it is not there on the ground, but you are mentioning financing being provided for. So maybe if you want to connect the two. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much indeed. I think we are doing well with these discussions. I think really the challenge for us as a nation is sort of realization of where we are in this period, comparing ourselves sometimes with our African neighbors to see what we have tried to do, but really focusing on, as a president would like to focus on the realities of the impact on our people and how we are able to get input to move the country forward. I think fundamental to what the whole issue is about is the statement of the failure on the part of various administrations to improve the lives of our citizenry. And then to put it into context, what this administration has been able to do these 3 years, the reality of COVID, what it means, and therefore how do we recalibrate to make sure there is hope and a sense of purpose in the way that we move forward. I will need to do some analysis on the global finance issue. For us, with Obatampa, we've been very clear on our objectives with regards to creating jobs over this 3-year period and addressing some structural inequities that would really help increase jobs, especially in the private sector. Now, whether it is sensationalism for you to talk about 76.2 for us